All right. Okay. Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here to celebrate good news with Premier Ford, Minister Sarkaria, Minister Surma, Minister Tanagasalam, NPA Firin Cooper, and of course Metrolinx CEO Michael Lindsay. Toronto is a global beacon of hope, and we welcome people from all over the world to come here and to build a new life and contribute to what makes Canada special. People like Fahima Osman, Somali refugees who came here as a kid with dreams of becoming a doctor. She graduated from McMaster Medical School and today is a surgeon at North York General Hospital, fighting breast cancer and helping thousands of patients to access life-saving surgeries faster. As the world seems more uncertain than ever, we will continue to support local families and workers and continue to welcome people from all over the world who come to Toronto because we are the economic engine of this country. Indeed, Toronto is the fastest growing city in North America. Last year alone, our city added 270,000 people. That's why we are building more housing people can afford and public transit so everyone can get around the city. Imagine the future right here. The East Harbour Transit-oriented communities, 4,300 new homes, office space to support 50,000 jobs, parkland, childcare, recreation centers, and more. Now, growth is good, but people have to be able to move around. Yes, Premier, you're right. Not everyone is into cycling and ride a bike. So we are building an East Harbour Transit Hub together. This will be Toronto's second busiest station with more than 100,000 daily riders. Home of the new Ontario line and serving commuters from Lakeshore East and the Stouffville GO train. East Harbour Transit Hub makes it easier for people from East York and Scarborough to get downtown. With better public transit, we will get more cars off the road and reduce congestion. Facing President Trump's trade war, we are protecting Toronto workers. The city's investment in this station will help to create 8,000 jobs, and we will be using Made in Canada steel. As part of the New Deal, we are investing in the extension for Broadview Avenue between the rail corridor and north to Eastern Avenue. We are providing $200 million towards flood protection from this area. And we helped persuade the federal government in March to sign the deal to put in their share also. We're working together across all levels of government to build a stronger city. And I want to thank the Premier and his minister, especially Minister Surma. You've been pushing for this nonstop. The first time I met you, Minister Surma said, East Harbour. Let's get it done. Thank you. Here we are. And with that, I want to pass it off to Minister of Infrastructure, Kinga to speak about how East Harbour is supporting the largest transit expansion in North America.
Very good. Very well done.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you for telling the world about how persistent I can be. Good morning, everyone. I'm very excited to be here today with the Premier, Minister Sarkaria, Mayor Chow, and of course the hardworking construction workers that are joining us today to celebrate the significant milestone for the East Harbour Transit Hub. This hub is a vital part of our government's plan to deliver the largest transit expansion in Canada's history. In addition to our work to deliver a more rapid and integrated transit network, we are also leveraging public lands to create more housing and jobs near transit. Through our Transit-Oriented Communities program, we're building a vibrant mixed-use community at East Harbour that will make the most of transit infrastructure and services people need every day. This complete new community will support thousands of new jobs and housing units in the area, including affordable housing, as well as community amenities like daycare, parkland, retail, and recreation. In fact, the province is currently working to deliver TOCs at 12 future stations along the Ontario Line Scarborough Subway Extension and Yonge North Subway Extension, creating approximately 56,000 new residential units, including affordable housing options, and supporting up to 75,000 jobs near subway lines. Our government also recently passed measures through the Protect Ontario by Building Faster and Smarter Act to speed up TOC construction by reducing burdensome red tape when it comes to zoning, planning, and working with municipalities and our building partners. We're working together across government to fast-track more transit-oriented communities and reduce gridlock in one of the busiest cities in North America and across the fast-growing Greater Golden Horseshoe, so that people of Ontario can travel to work, shop at their local grocery store, and get back home faster. I'm proud of the work we're doing together with our partners to help our communities grow and strengthen Ontario's economy for decades to come. Congratulations to our project partners on this major milestone. Thank you very much, and now I would like to invite Minister Sarkaria to the podium.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Minister Surma, for that kind introduction and for all of your work on this station, on this project. I remember the first day that I was appointed, the first call I got was from Minister Surma and talking all about East Harbour Station. So congratulations on all your success and what a transformative project this will be. Also a pleasure to be here with, of course, Premier Ford, who's championing the largest public transit expansion in the history of not only this country but North America, and Mayor Chow, who has been an incredible advocate and someone we have been working very instrumentally with to deliver public transit across the city, and many of my colleagues, including Michael Lindsay as well, who is here with as the CEO of Metrolinx. Our government has a plan to build the roads, the highways, and the subways. We are building the public transit infrastructure we need to support our growing population. This will not only make it easier for commuters to get where they're going when they need to get there, but it will support good-paying local jobs during construction as we continue to grapple with President Trump's unjustified trade war. Millions of Ontarians rely on public transit every day to get to work, visit family, friends, find life-changing opportunities, and so much more. That is why we're overseeing the largest expansion in North America to build transit that will serve our province for generations to come. Under the leadership of Premier Ford, we're investing nearly $70 billion in public transit. The Scarborough Subway Extension, the Eglinton Crosstown West Extension, and the Yonge North Subway Extension. Today, we are marking another step forward in our investments in infrastructure to tackle gridlock and shorten travel times for thousands of daily commuters, so we can stand up for Ontario and build this province for the future. With that said, I'm proud to turn it over to Premier Ford for this very exciting announcement. Thank you.
Well, first of all, good morning, everyone, and thank you for having me. But I love the folks right over there, hard-working men and women that are going to build this. They're going to be able to rely on a paycheck every single week, and just thank God we have them. I absolutely love them. And here comes another train. This is music to my ears when I see that GO train go by, because that's what we're doing. We're building transit, largest transit expansion in North America. And I'm delighted to be here. You heard from Minister Sarkaria. Minister Surma, that's very, very humble. But let me tell you about Minister Surma. This would not be happening. She was relentless for years, from the day we got into office. The previous mayor, this mayor, every single minister we've had, she's just been pounding away. So, Mayor, maybe we put like a little plaque, Kinga Surma was here. Something like, some dedication somewhere. But just been working her back off. And and Minister Thanagaslam and PAs Michelle Cooper and Mohammed Farin, thank you all for being here. And I'm also happy to welcome Mayor Chow. We have a phenomenal relationship. I always say, she knows where I'm coming from, I know where she's coming from, and I can't wait to get on the back of that tandem bike and go down the road and raise money for charity or something. But I'm driving, because I don't trust you driving that thing. So, and Michael Lindsay from Metrolinx, he's an absolute all-star. He was with infrastructure, and now he's with Metrolinx. We're fortunate to have him because he's an out-of-the-box thinker and he's a relentless worker. Everyone here today knows that President Trump and his tariffs are taking direct aim at Canada's economy and specifically Ontario's manufacturing sector. We know workers and families are worried, and they're counting on us to step up to protect their jobs and communities. And as I always say, I won't spare a penny to protect our communities, our hard-working folks over there, and making sure we save businesses and protect businesses against President Trump. That's why our government is moving fast, cutting red tape, unlocking our resources, and building a more competitive, resilient, and self-reliant economy to make Ontario the best place in the G7 to invest, create jobs, and do business. In the face of economic uncertainty, we're doubling down on our plan to build Ontario with more than $200 billion in investment. So, folks, I just came back from Boston yesterday. We were in and out, met half a dozen governors, and I started to throw these numbers at them. They were dumbfounded. When I told them we're building the largest transit system, when I told them we're spending $200 billion and told them it was the largest plan to build in Canadian history, and it includes new highways, roads, transit, hospitals, schools, and much more. It includes critical projects. We'll get drivers moving again, like Highway 413, the Bradford Bypass, and we're going to tunnel the 401 Expressway. It also includes $73 million to speed up construction on the Gardiner Expressway, and we're working well with the city. Thank you, Mayor. But you see the results, Mayor, and because of that investment, construction is now set to finish 15 months ahead of original schedule, and that's what happens when you have a great relationship with the mayor and our ministers and ourselves. We get things done. We're also lowering cost for transit users with one fare, which saves commuters an average of $1,600 every single year. And through our new deal with Toronto, we're providing historic support for the city's growth. That support includes the upload of the Gardiner Expressway, the Don Valley parking lot, or I should say parkway, Don Valley Parkway to the province, as well as $758 million for new subway cars on Line 2. And I want to emphasize that in the face of President Trump's tariffs, our government firmly believes these cars should be made right here in Ontario by Ontario workers at Alstom's facility in Thunder Bay. Our plan to build also includes $70 billion for the largest public transit and subway service expansion in North America. That includes a historic expansion of GO train service across the Greater Golden Horseshoe and historic new transit projects like the Yonge North and Scarborough subway extensions, the Eglinton Crosstown West extension, the Hazel McCallion line, the Finch West LRT, and of course the beautiful Ontario line, which will run right here where we're standing right here today. Today, we're here to mark the historic step in construction of the Ontario line, with the official start of the construction on the East Harbour Transit Hub, which will link the Ontario line to the Stouffville and Lakeshore East GO train lines. This station will connect 100,000 riders every single day to convenient transit options that will take them across the city and the region. It will help relieve crowding at other stations. In fact, it's going to be the second busiest transit station in Toronto after Union Station. While this station is under construction, it will create good-paying jobs for drill rig operators, steel and concrete workers, crane and excavator operators, and the list just keeps going on and on and on. At the end of the day, this site will have thousands of residential units and support thousands of new jobs in the neighborhood as part of our transit-oriented communities. We're going to keep investing in our workers, our infrastructure, and our communities. We're going to cut the red tape and attract new jobs and investments to our province. And we're going to protect the people of Ontario no matter what. I want to thank each and every one of you, and may God bless the people of Ontario. Thank you.
We will now take questions from the media. Media present can line up behind me and ask their questions through the microphone. As a friendly reminder, the format is one question, one follow-up. Please state your name and your outlet before your question.
Hi, Premier. Alison Jones with the Canadian Press.
Hi, Alison.
You were on CNN yesterday, and you
Yes.
were asked about Bill 5.
Yes.
You talked about hearing a lot of support
Yes.
from First Nations. You said the vast majority of chiefs are going to essentially be on board eventually.
Yep.
We haven't heard yet from any of the chiefs or First Nations communities who are supportive. Can you give us an idea of who they are and what they're saying?
Sure. Well, first of all, I'm going to meet with 40 chiefs for a consultation this week. We're going to be consulting the entire summer. We put $3 billion, never been done in our country, to make sure that they have ownership of any projects that we do, and another 70 million for training, another 10 million for scholarships. Wouldn't that be great if one of the Indigenous youth actually get a degree and go out there and become an engineer and work on the line? That's our goal, to make their lives better. And it's a very generous offer that we're offering, but nothing's going to be done without respecting their treaty rights, making sure we have duty to consult, and they're going to be part of any deal. So it's going to work out extremely well for the communities that want to be involved.
And on the Greenbelt, have you been interviewed yet by the RCMP, or has anything been scheduled?
No.
Hi, Richard Southern, 680 News
Hey,
Radio.
Richard.
If I may, Premier, just for the Transportation Minister, if possible, I just wanted Minister Sarkaria to hear directly from you regarding the Eglinton Crosstown LRT. The Premier the other week said it was close to being handed over to the TTC and on track to open in September. Minister, is that the case? Has it been handed over to the TTC, and will it open in September, sir?
Thank you for the question. Look, when Michael was appointed as interim CEO, he was given one mandate by the Premier and our team, was to use all resources to getting that line open. And we've made some significant progress. You're right, as of about a week and a half ago, operations to the TTC Hillcrest Station were transferred. We're on track for, as long as we ensure that there's a safe and reliable system, that we are on track for that date. And Michael has been working relentlessly with his team to ensure that we're meeting those major milestones, whether it comes to training or from an operational perspective. But Michael, maybe I'll ask you to expand upon that as well. But we have made some significant progress under his leadership in moving this towards better certainty.
Good morning, everyone. Happy to talk about Eglinton, which is going to be as transformational a project for this region as the one that I'm standing in front of right now. Just to build on Minister Sarkaria's comments, yes, major milestones have been met in respect of the progress on Eglinton Crosstown. To name a few, all civil infrastructure for the project is complete. When I last saw all of you in April, I talked about operator-driver training resuming on the 17th of March. That happened, and it is complete. All the drivers for the TTC are now trained for this project, and I would want to salute the partnership that we have with the Toronto Transit Corporation in many ways to advance this project. As the Minister just said, about a week ago, we moved control of the line from the backup operations command center to the TTC's command center at Hillcrest, which means as of today or tomorrow, movement of trains on the line is actually governed by the TTC, as it will be when the line's in revenue service. I would also note that we are relentlessly stress testing both system and vehicles. And this really is the phase of the project that we're in right now. We're doing the things for this line that, frankly, were not done for projects like the Ottawa LRT, demonstrating to ourselves collectively that it's going to perform the way that we want it to on the day that it opens. So if you're out on the Eglinton Crosstown alignment today, you will see as many as 28 trains, the full complement, moving on the line to test how the vehicles are performing, what's their maintenance profile, what systems upgrades ultimately have to happen. That's going pretty well. When the system achieves a certain amount of stability, we'll take two steps. We'll do formal trial running for a period of 14 days, and then we will have a 30-day revenue service demonstration where we will literally run the system as it will run when it is open to the public with no passengers on it, just to satisfy ourselves that it performs the way that it needs to. Once that's done, we've added a further measure, which comes directly from the report on the Ottawa LRT, to have a bedding-in period, post-substantial completion of the project, to continue with this testing, to make sure that when it opens, it will be safe and it will be reliable. If everything goes according to plan and real progress is being made, that's why we have a September fall date for the Eglinton Crosstown. But I want to stress that we cannot open that system if it is not going to perform, because hundreds of thousands of people will rely upon it. The trend line is good, but it is always subject to revision depending on what we find through systems testing.
Premier, can I just get your reaction to that? It seems pretty significant that the TTC is taking control. What's your message to Ontarians who have waited like 14 years for this to open?
Well, first of all, I'm fortunate to have Michael. You can see this guy is brilliant. He's a champion. He's going to push the system, but I agree with him. That's not going to open up unless it's 100% safe. Safety is a number one priority, but you can tell he's fully in charge and he's going to get it done. I want to thank the TTC too. They've been great partners, and it's going to be up to them to make it happen. Let's get it done. This has been way too long. It was a mess for years, but we inherited a mess. Now it's going to come to fruition. But we're doing a tremendous amount of work right across the city, building the largest subway expansion in North America.
Bonjour, Jérémy Bergeron avec Radio-Canada. My first question is for Premier Ford. Mark Carney hoped to get a deal within the next 30 days with Donald Trump and his administration. Do you still have hope? Do you think it takes too long to get a deal into that trade war?
Well, I support the Prime Minister in getting the deal. He's dealing with a different type of cat with Trump. You don't know which way this guy's going to bounce from morning to morning. He wakes up, eats his Wheaties, and all of a sudden everything's changing. So I'm going to back the Prime Minister 100%. I know all the premiers will. We need to get a deal. We have to get a fair trade deal for Canada, and let's see what happens. But he has my 100% support when it comes to this trade deal.
My second question is for both you, Premier, and maybe Mayor Chow. There's a new report from the City of Toronto right now about the security doors that they want to put into the subway stations. It would cost $4 billion to install all those security doors. Premier Ford, do you think, we know you're pro-safety, do you think it would cost too much, $4 billion? Would you pitch in? And Mayor Chow, what do you think of that new report?
You know something, I don't know all the details. I'm not an expert. I'll tell you one thing. I could give those guys $1 billion over there and they'd have it done in a month. They'd be doing it in a heartbeat and they'd all be partying up with all the extra cash. $4 billion sounds pretty crazy, in my opinion. I'm no expert, but I'll tell you one thing. That is outrageous, $4 billion. But over to you, Mayor.
We have a new CEO of TTC starting very shortly. And guess what he did in New York? He had some of the protection that you're talking about at the subways, and he was able to greatly reduce the cost. So I'll leave it for the transit expert whether we have the financial means to do it or not. Our first task, though, of course, is to open the Eglinton Crosstown and have a good partnership with Metrolinx. So, and then the second priority is to upgrade the very old tracks and signals on the subway lines. And our third priority is to persuade the federal government to exempt the 55 subway cars, that it needs to be a tendering process so that we could immediately take the jobs and put it in Thunder Bay and build those new subway cars right here in Ontario. But we're waiting for the federal government to give us the go-ahead.
It's Ben Spur from the Toronto Star. A question for the Premier. Premier, today Netflix has released a documentary about your brother's time as mayor here in Toronto, which I expect will introduce a whole new audience to his story. Do you plan to watch that, and what do you hope that people who do watch it take away from your brother's time as mayor here?
Well, I don't see eye to eye. I'm not going to watch it. They're disgusting people. The poor Rob's been dead for 9 years, and they just want to keep going after him. I talked to one person that saw it. It's just disgusting. Leave the guy alone. Let him rest in peace. Let his family rest in peace. They're just disgusting people and just absolutely infuriates me, to be honest with you. They want the truth. Talk to the real people that absolutely love them. So I'll leave it at that.
Thank you. And a question for Mayor Chow, please. Mayor, there's a lot of talk right now happening about potential candidates already getting organized to run against you next year, including former Mayor John Tory. He's still very popular in some quarters of this city. Do you see him as the biggest threat to you being reelected next year?
I'm very busy building housing that people can afford and investing in public transit just right here, for example, and lots to do, fixing city services and getting people moving. So that's what I'm focusing on.
Hi, I'm Charlie Pinkerton from the Trillium.
Hi, Charlie.
Premier, how you doing? My first question is for you. A colleague of mine recently did some reporting on what was behind an issue with Metrolinx and one of its key partners, and the contract that fell apart. And so I'm just wondering, in this sense, is there an issue with the P3 model with Metrolinx, or is there a more significant issue with the agency itself?
No, I don't know the issue you're talking about, but I'm a big believer in P3 building, and when it gets done right, it's fabulous. They do it all around the world, and we're becoming experts. I know Australia are experts at it, but I think it's a good model.
All right, and I think my second question is best answered by Minister Surma, if you don't mind.
Sure.
It's about the transit-oriented community that is planned here. It was one of the first that your government announced. There have been some delays, so I'm just wondering what your understanding is now of when that project will be done, when folks will be moving into the homes that will be here, and if you can explain what some of the delays have been and how those will be avoided moving forward.
Well, thank you very much. Yes, I was very pleased to be here to announce the transit-oriented community and this transit hub. This will be the second busiest station. It will also be home to 1,000 new residents here. I would say that before we can get the housing built, there's a lot of site servicing work that needs to be done, the flood protection that needs to be done, thanks to the federal government coming as a new partner and helping fund that. You can't build homes here if there's going to be constant flooding. Broadview extension, there's road work that needs to be done. We're partnering with the City of Toronto in order to get that. And then, of course, we have an ongoing discussion with Cadillac Fairview, that is the partner here, and the City of Toronto. As you know, the market has changed. A big portion of this redevelopment was going to include commercial space, but we know that commercial vacancies in Toronto are the highest they've ever been. And so we're looking to make some amendments in order to grow the numbers of residential units here on the site. These conversations are supported by the mayor, and we will continue to move forward in these tough market conditions. Thank you.
Hi, Barbara with QP Briefing.
Hi, Barbara.
I have a question for the Premier, but I would like to hear from the Mayor as well on this. It's on the funding for the FIFA World Cup. Premier, you always talk about how you have a great relationship with the mayor,
Yep.
but some critics have been saying that the province is withholding money from the city for the FIFA event, perhaps to have some sort of political leverage and possibly try to gain support for other agendas. Is that true? And also, would you be open to give the city more flexibility to use the funds they already got?
Yep.
Most of it is apparently going to things that were already paid for. Thank you.
Yeah, well, great question. First of all, when I made this agreement, I said we aren't going to do a penny more than, what it was, a 96, 97 million, somewhere around there. But when I talked to the mayor, we were looking over the costs. Security's crazy. Like we got to review security, but the mayor is in charge of it. She has the flexibility. If you want to put money here, over there. So it's a combination of services and cash in hand, but she needs more cash, which I understand. But we'll review it and we'll come up with a solution, and it'll turn out well. We're going to have a great event. We're going to invite the world to see the greatest city in the world right here, and I can't wait for FIFA to start. But over to you, Mayor.
Thank you. Well, last week on June 12th, we experienced incredible excitement from Torontonians. They are so ready for the world to come to the city of Toronto. And the soccer fans, the kids that have all the jerseys on from different parts of the world, Italy, Colombia, Mexico, and it's really building. It's phenomenal. So yes, it costs some money, and I wish we signed all the cost sharing before we did the bidding, but we're now here. So it is absolutely true. We are negotiating. We're looking at the cost. The security cost, for example, is like 30+%. Do we really need that high level of security? Maybe, but the city of Toronto know how to host big events. We had Taylor Swift for 6 days, and the Taylor Swift, the organizer of the tour of Taylor Swift, remember they're global, right? I spoke to her personally at the command center, and she said to me, it's the most coordinated, most organized, best tour that they have experienced. So we know how to host big events, and that event have more people coming, attending in that 6 days than FIFA World Cup would. And remember, we also, during the Taylor Swift concerts, we also have sports games going on. So it wasn't just the Swifties in town. The sports fans also coming in town. And it was smooth. There was no incident. People had a grand time. So no doubt we can do this and do it well. And as to how much the security costs and the health costs and all of that, we'll figure that out.
Thank you.
That's great.
Now,
and actually, speaking of FIFA, we were over at Centennial Park for Ford Fest. Thank you, Mayor, for coming. And they're getting all the fields ready. It's going to be beautiful over there. I got to thank all the people that came to Ford Fest. We ran, and no one got two of anything. That we went through 10,000 hamburgers and hot dogs. We ran out. Probably a few thousand people didn't get any. So it was a lively crowd, and I'm glad and very appreciative that the mayor popped by to say hello. And let me tell you something. She had a lot of support there, and I told everyone before she arrived, every person should go up and thank her for naming that stadium after Rob, because it wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for the mayor. The last guy couldn't do it. The mayor did it within weeks. So thank you, Mayor. I'll be forever grateful.
Thank you. Now on something else entirely. There is a report saying on housing, saying that it would cost less than $900 million to give full provincial sale tax rebates on the first million of a new home purchase. That's not really a big amount. Would this be something your government would consider doing unilaterally, like without the federal government?
No, we need the federal government in there. Let's get rid of the HST. Let's help people. It just costs too much, or at least get the federal government to help out on the development charges, because that's a killer too. I think it's 140,000 Mayor in the city. Imagine if you could put that 140 into the pockets of the people, not the builders. Have a program that goes right into the pockets. So I'm just throwing out wild figures, for an $800,000 condo, now you're getting it for $640,000. And hopefully we knock some tax off that. We have to get some affordability. And the worst place to give your money is the government, I can assure you. Municipal, provincial, and federal.
Hi, Lorenda Redikoff with CBC News.
Hi, Lorenda.
Hi, we heard about the 14 years that it's been taking for the Eglinton Crosstown.
Yeah.
What about here? When could we see people coming through this station?
Well, go ahead, Michael.
So, timeline associated with the delivery of the station is in the late 2020s. There is a massive amount of construction to coordinate across the entirety of the GO network, but the Metrolinx team is coming to grips with it right now to be able, we hope, by the end of this summer, to begin to bring a little bit more specificity to line by line. When do we achieve different configuration states for the lines that enable more service? And what I would say is the service continues to arrive, whether it's out to Niagara Falls or it's out to Kitchener or any of the locations that are on the GO network. It's happening right now. We've had the largest increase in GO service in history over the course of the last 3 years, and that's going to continue.
Premier, the Information and Privacy Commissioner came out with a report late last week finding that people within your government were using code words for the Greenbelt, such as GB or just the letter G, or using special project. How could this happen under you as the head of the government?
Well, they need to follow the rules, and that's as simple as that. They don't follow the rules, they're held accountable. People don't, can I tell you something? People don't give two hoots about this greenbelt. That's done, that's gone, and we're moving forward with it. But it doesn't even, when we do our polling, it doesn't even show up. So let's get the show on the road and start building more homes.
This will be the last reporter.
Yeah, after the last reporter, I get to have Doug Ford's rant for a little bit, because I got a couple things building up on my mind here.
But you want to go now? Because maybe I'll have some questions about what your rant is.
You go, and then I get my last say.
Okay.
But I guarantee you, every single person around here will agree with what I'm going to say.
I'm wondering, sorry, Siobhan Moore, CTV News. You talked about Mark Carney having your full support in dealing with Trump. Can you talk about what your impressions were of what you saw play out in that public part of the bilateral meeting? If you've heard anything from either the Prime Minister or Dominic LeBlanc about what happened at the G7 between our nations?
No, it didn't seem like much happened, to be very frank. They agreed that over the next 30 days they'll put a deal together. That's good news. And then I guess President Trump had to take off back to the White House. But at least they had an opportunity to meet. And I'm confident that we'll get a deal done. People want certainty. Just like our hardworking men and women that are going to be building this, they're going to be able to go home and say, I have a job. I have a job for the next X number of years. And we're going to guarantee we'll get a paycheck, and we may be able to put a deposit down, or we'll buy, pay the mortgage or do whatever. It's certainty. And that's what we need, certainty on this trade deal. It's absolutely critical.
And I actually have a question for Mayor Chow.
Yep.
Mayor, a few hundred residents gathered last night for a public meeting on a shelter that's proposed for Gerrard Street East. Many of them quite upset they feel they weren't consulted before this location was chosen. What's your message to neighbors who say they weren't consulted before the site was chosen, who don't want a shelter in that location?
The City of Toronto have to bring people indoors, being in parks, people sleeping in parks and out on the streets and subways. That's not right. We have to provide shelters for people so that they have and eventually a home, so they have a roof over their head. So we have to build. Yes, we are building as many affordable homes as possible. We are building supportive housing. We are also have to build some shelters, because what we need to do is to take people out from the hotels that started during COVID time, because it's extremely expensive to house homeless folks in hotels, but if we just empty out the hotels, they would be out in the streets and people's parks, and so that doesn't work. So we have to house people somewhere, and as you may remember, we also have a huge influx of refugees in the last couple of years, and as a result, we have almost half of the people that are on 10,000 people that are in our shelters, half of them are refugees. So we have to build some shelters. As to where they're located, we've left it for our city staff to pick the right places, and they have a consultation process, and I believe that is what is happening right now. There's conversation with neighbors as to is it done right? Can we make sure people are feeling good about the new neighbors coming in? It will take a few years for it to be built, so there'll be a lot more conversation with neighbors, but at the end of the day, we have to find homes for people that are out in the street. And we do know that because the rent is so high, and if you lose a job or if you get sick, then you all of a sudden find yourself being evicted because we run out of money. And that could be any family members, it could be an uncle or someone that we know or a neighbor. So we have to find place for folks to stay. And here comes the rent. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, first of all, I love how the mayor gets in front of it. She owns it. I've been getting calls endless about these shelters. Oh, it's the province's fault. They say, no. I love, their city council should do the same as what the mayor did, own it. If they want to move it, they want to rezone it, that's up to them. It's not up to the province. But that's what I love about the mayor. She gets up there. You can agree or disagree. This is what they're doing. So just don't blame the province if it's the city. It's not the mayor that does that. These meetings, they come out, it's the province. It's not the province, but here nor there. Okay, here's my rant. Okay, so first of all, Chief Nish, Chief Demkew, all the chiefs, they're absolute champions. So they do a massive bust. 500 kilos of cocaine that these drug dealers want to poison our kids, poison our people, and 500 kilos. Just imagine that. And they work with the DEA down in the U.S., Drug Enforcement Agency. They work with the Border Patrol. They work with police agencies back and forth. The OPP, Commissioner Creek, is amazing on the Joint Task Force. And guess what, guys? These weak-kneed judges, the biggest bust in Peel's history, guess where they are? They're back out on the street again. Bail. Except one person. Do you believe that? They actually get released on the largest drug bust in Peel's history. 500 kilos of cocaine that could ultimately kill people, and judges slap on the wrist. Okay, little Johnny, you go out there and deal more drugs. Why don't you give them more drugs? It's crazy. The system is broken. I will be all over the Prime Minister and the federal government reform, have bail reform until these I don't even want to call them what I'm thinking right now. I better hold off. But these people that are terrorizing our neighborhoods and feeding drugs to our people, that's number one. They need to change the criminal code. They need to change bail reform. I will be all over him until this gets done. Stop the dilly-dallying around. 10 years we've seen. We're going to do it. We aren't going to do it. Prime Minister gave me his word. He's going to change it. It has to be done. And then, bingo, you hear of another big bust yesterday. What is there, 15 of them? And by the way, I remember saying that the chief is a champ. Chief Nish is a champ. All our police are champions. Well, guess what? They get busted. These are the ones that are, the whole tow truck group and the other guys that are trying to intimidate and extort people. So they call people up and say, pay up or we're going to shoot up your house. Guess what? They go by and start shooting up the house. But guess what, folks? Those nice, kind judges, they let them all out on bail. Oh, by the way, they're already out on bail or probation. What is the city coming to, not the city, but our country coming to, when these criminals are running amok and terrorizing our neighborhoods? It's disgusting. Something has to change. And the last one. Did you hear about the guy that these thugs came up, ready to steal his car? They're all in their masks and everything. So I guess he was a hunter or something. He shot up in the air. I don't recommend that, by the way. But he gets charged. I got to find out this guy's name and number, and I'm going to hold a fundraiser for lawyer fees for him. He should get a medal for standing up. It's like down in the U.S., we should have the castle law. Someone breaks into your house, and I know any of these people here, someone breaks into your house and they're coming after your kids and you're coming after your spouse, you're going to fight like you've never fought before. You're going to use anything that you have, be it weapons, baseball bats, knives. You're protecting your family. These thugs shouldn't be coming in there. Now, I'm going to tell you a story, probably get in trouble for this. You want to hear about stupid criminals? Have you ever seen that show about stupid criminals out there? So 4 thugs come racing down my street, masks on, ready to take the car out of the driveway. Surprise, surprise, at 12:30, the 2 police cars are there. The chase is on. So they chase him. One guy runs out, takes off. They capture him, and they catch these other guys. But just imagine all the unfortunate people that don't have security there at their house with masks on, and they had all the tools ready to break in and everything. And guess what's going to happen? They're going to be back out. Why don't you guys come over for a barbecue tonight? I'll take care of you better than the police. And thank God the police got you and I never did. Anyways, that's my rant. I'm sick and tired of the weak justice system that we have. They have to get a backbone, and we need to start throwing these people in jail. This is turning into a lawless society. That's my rant, and that's it. So I'm going to wrap it up. Thank you. All I'm trying to do is protect the people of Ontario here. They know it. And deep down, they all agree, I know they do, about keeping criminals in jail. Thank you. God bless the people of Ontario. Thank you.